Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily presented by Amazon Prime for March 6, 2026. I'm Dave DuFour here with Es Baraheni. Coming up, we had a big night in the West with huge impacts on the standings. We're going to hit that. Then Hunter Patterson joins us to talk about the Pistons losing to the Spurs again. Good morning, everybody. What's up, Es? Did you know it's Shaq's birthday?
I did not. But now I do.
I don't know why I know it.
Shout out to the
happy
Diesel,
birthday
man.
to Shaq. I know Andrew Schlecht definitely knows it's Shaq's birthday.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Yeah. Shout out to Shaq.
Speaking of Shaq, Lakers centers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's a segue right there. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was passed last night by LeBron James for most made field goals all time in NBA history. Yeah. Fun.
You know, when you told me this like 2 hours ago, because he did it very early in the game. Okay.
Yeah. He only needed three coming in.
Yeah. I asked you, I'm like, this is a thing that we track? Because I didn't know that the most field goals. I just didn't really think. I thought points was what we cared about. Made field goals, maybe not so much. But when you said, you know, it's kind of hard to pass Kareem, like it is with points, and anything that put it in better context for me. So shout out to LeBron.
The next closest active player is Kevin Durant, and I think he's like 4,000 made shots behind.
That's absurd, you know.
Right?
I don't think there is currently an active player. I mean, maybe a guy that we'll talk about a little bit later, but I don't think there's a current active player that even has a chance. Maybe Wemby.
I don't know if he's going to be able to play the number of games. Like LeBron's consistency is really this was the thing about Kareem. He just played every game. Yeah. And LeBron has just played so many games in his career and been like availability is a skill. And it's been one of LeBron's signature skills.
It's kind of weird to see him, you know, obviously he got hurt at the end of this game with like an arm
elbow
thing.
Like.
And obviously he started the season hurt, but it's weird to see him like that. It's weird to see him hurt. It's a rarity considering me and you have both watched the entirety of his career. And for the most part, he's been on the court. You know?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's easy to just ho-hum this. It's like, oh, LeBron broke another record. But nobody's going to do this again.
No, nobody is. You're right. You're right. And look, I have to contextualize this. I have known basketball for as long as LeBron James has been playing NBA basketball. So just consider that.
Well, he is the only, he is the only really like amazing player, like the greats that you've ever seen. I mean, it's him, Steph, and KD are the three greatest players. Oh, you saw Tim Duncan.
Yeah, Tim Duncan, Kobe. I saw those guys. Yeah, absolutely. No,
but you've seen his whole career.
Respect me in my old age.
Whose career you've seen the entirety of, I should say.
Yes.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, the Lakers lost.
They did.
Yeah, to the Nuggets. They're in the 6th seed still. But the Nuggets, they pick up a little bit of steam trying to catch the Rockets. They're basically in a dead heat for that 4 or 5 spot right now. The Wolves get a win over the Raptors, and they now have a game up on the Rockets and the Nuggets for that 3 seed. Let's talk a little bit about Denver Lakers. Denver looked like they were running away early. But again, their lack of defense, that lack of defensive intensity, and the lack of rim protection from Jokic, and the Lakers get back into the game. And, you know, down the stretch, I just wasn't sure that the Nuggets were going to be able to hang on. You know, Luka had a pretty ridiculous game, but the Lakers, I thought they were causing a lot of problems for the Nuggets. They created so many turnovers, uncharacteristic for what we're used to seeing out of the Nuggets. But the Nuggets just looked sluggish at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was really interesting because the zone bothered the Nuggets. You know, the Lakers ran this zone defense, which JJ Redick has gone to pretty frequently here recently. And it was all with the intention to get the ball out of Nikola Jokic's hands. And the Nuggets were running post-ups consistently for Jokic. And Jokic had 9 turnovers in this game.
9 turnovers.
Like, obviously, 28 points, 12 rebounds, 13 assists. He was glorious usually as he is, but the 9 turnovers is what sticks out because of that Lakers defense. And it's a credit to them. They went smaller. They kind of scrammed everything, and they forced him to make a lot of tough passes. For what it's worth, I think the Lakers offense also kept up in a major way to your point, because of the Nuggets defense.
Right.
Like when Luka is able to get whatever he wants at the point of attack, when Austin Reeves is crossing up anybody and getting to the hoop, when LeBron,
if anyone gets downhill and Jokic is at the basket,
it's a layup
he is
line.
not going to attempt to block the shot.
Yeah.
He may play the ball down low, but I mean, especially like in a game like this, he had 4 fouls in the game. Mm-hmm. So late, he definitely didn't want to pick up that 5th foul because that changes everything for them, because he's at risk of offensive fouls too. And so, I mean, I just look, this is going to be a problem for them. This has kind of
been a trend. I was going to say, like, if we've watched the last 3 or 4 Nuggets games very intently, the Minnesota game, you could see that, like, one, the physicality that they were playing with,
right,
and his lack of defense really hurt them. The Utah game, we talked about his antics, right? And I think part of that actually goes to the fact that he can't get stops, so he has to play with the antic game. I don't know. That's a big question mark for the Nuggets.
I'm not going to say refusal to get stops, but I think that he plays the game of, I can't pick up cheap fouls on this layup that I'm probably not going to block because I have to be on the court. And I understand that. But also, I mean, Rui Hachimura catches the ball 6 feet away from the basket, and Jokic doesn't even step in front of him. I mean, just an easy, simple defensive play. And so, I mean, look, whether getting Aaron Gordon back this weekend,
coming back soon,
right, whether that fixes this or not, I don't know. But man, I know I said hold on to that stock. I'm getting a little nervous about
it is concerning, especially because, you know, if I were to flip this, the Minnesota Timberwolves look awesome.
They look great.
They look great.
They're rounding into form just like they did last year. Absolutely. When they really started to figure things out. They just seem, this is the sort of game that they would lose 3 months ago, right? The Raptors come in high energy. They're kind of tough. Okay, maybe our shots aren't falling tonight.
Yeah, maybe they back down from that, right?
Yeah, Dante DiVincenzo had like this excellent defensive game, I thought, against the Raptors. But the Wolves, they're looking great.
No, they are. And I looked at it and I'm like, man, Rudy Gobert had a defensive player of the year type of performance tonight against the Raptors. Like the way he walled off the paint for them, they couldn't get a shot in the paint. And the Raptors struggle against really good rim protectors. That's sort of a Raptors issue. But I also love the addition of Ayo Dosunmu recently.
Great off the bench.
The way he plays for them in transition, he speeds them up. He makes them play a little bit faster. And the tandem of him and Bones Highland together off the bench is like this like breath of fresh air for this Timberwolves group. I don't know. I'm very excited to see how this Wolves team finishes out the season, because to me, it feels like between them and the Spurs and, you know, maybe the Nuggets. I can't count out the Nuggets too much yet.
Of course
Dave,
not. No. I mean, it's Jokic.
But between the Wolves and the Nuggets, Wolves and the Spurs, there's going to be an awesome playoff series against the Thunder, like an awesome playoff series against them.
Well, I mean, I think the West, one of the reasons why last night was kind of awesome was because every game
we saw the West.
It was a West highlight show. Every game kind of had implications toward the playoffs. Speaking of the Rockets, inexcusable loss to the Warriors. They were at home.
Yeah.
The Warriors don't have Steph Curry. And not only they lose, they lost in overtime. So, like, Kevin Durant plays 41 minutes in a loss.
Yeah.
This is bad. This is an awful loss.
This was like a disastrous Alperen Şengün game, man. And I know
got cooked by Al Horford.
He got cooked by Al Horford.
67-year-old Al Horford was cooking him.
It's sort of the same thing we talk about with Jokic. You know, where like you look at this game and you're like, all right, man, 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 8 of 20 isn't that inefficient of a game, but 5 turnovers, right? And the defense on the other side of the ball, he's not providing that contest. He doesn't want to get in foul trouble. It's very similar to what you see with Jokic in terms of like the effort level for Şengün on the defensive side of the floor. And the other side, like for the Warriors, shout out to Brandon Pajimski, who has been awesome recently.
Why is Steve Kerr playing him so much, He's been good. And I will say this as someone who's I'm not a Pods hater, but I've been hard on Pods. I think that, you know, there are times when he's out there and it's like, hey, buddy, Steph Curry is on the court. Yeah. Do you know this?
But now Steph Curry isn't on the court.
He's not. And it's the Pods show. And look at him, 26 points, goes 4 for 8 from 3. He had 5 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
This is, again, Houston. You're supposed to be the rebound monsters. You own the glass. I can't wrap my head around it. I'm starting to wonder if there's a vibes problem. I don't know. But it was bad.
It's worth mentioning.
It was not good.
Yeah.
And then before we go to break, and we're going to talk to Hunter Patterson after the break, very heavily about the Pistons and their big takeaways from the 2 games against the Spurs. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Spurs because once again, they showed that they're one of the best teams in the league. I mean, they beat the best team in the East now twice in 2 weeks. And this time was different than last time because they came out and it was almost like they wanted to prove a point. You actually can't dominate Wemby. You can't bother him. He can do whatever he wants. He just doesn't have to. And last night, look, 38 points from the dude, 5 blocks. You know, he's top 250 already in blocks, which, you know, sounds impressive. But then you find out like Alex Len is also top 250 in blocks anyway.
Oh, man. All-time list. What a funny thing. Anyways, I agree with you. Wemby was absurd in this game. It was an MVP level performance. And like, I mean, what can you say other than you laugh when you watch him play? When he makes an absurd highlight reel type of moment, a sequence where he'll block a shot on one end, dribble down the court, and have this absurd layup or finish or something along the lines of that, he makes you laugh because it's something that you genuinely have never seen before. Wemby is that. And I also think, you know, he impacts everywhere else on the floor that we don't necessarily talk about the supporting cast that has become honestly absolutely perfect for him.
Is Steph Castle, if he's not the best point of attack defender in the league, he's one of like 5 guys that alternate as the best point of attack defender.
If I had to fate of the world on the line and you had to get one defensive stop, I'm picking one of these 5 point of attack, by the way. We're talking about just perimeter stop.
Somebody's got to guard Jalen Brunson.
I'm not necessarily taking Rudy Gobert here in this situation. You know what I mean? Right. I'm taking Victor Wembanyama. I'm taking Steph Castle among the 5 people that are there. 2 of the 5 best defenders, fate of the universe on the line is on the San Antonio Spurs. The Oklahoma City Thunder also probably have a couple players. I'm not discounting that. Thunder fans, don't kill me. But that's how good this Spurs defense is.
It's amazing. Yeah. And if they shoot in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know. West is going to be awesome. East is going to be cool too.
It's going to be a great playoff race.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I think, look, we deserve it after getting through some parts of this season, like when the refs weren't on our side, when they were actively working against us. But I do think the playoffs, we're going to get some great matchups. So it's fun when we get these nights like this. This is like gets me all excited. It's like a playoff preview. Anyway, guys, stick around. After the break, we got Hunter Patterson, and we break down if Cade Cunningham is enough for the Pistons to get it done. Two weeks in a row, the San Antonio Spurs have handled the Detroit Pistons with very little problem. Hunter Patterson, you've seen both of those games. Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
Last night, not a great game for the Pistons. But after these 2 games, we've been talking about the Pistons as the best team in the East for a while now. And they've been handled by the Spurs 2 weeks in a row. What's your takeaway?
Realistically, I think this was almost a visual representation that there are still levels to elite teams in the NBA. And the Spurs are, I don't want to say in a stratosphere of their own because there's still OKC out there. But I will say this was one of those games where you have a primary creator in Wemby. You have De'Aaron, who almost went for 30. He had 22 in the first half. And on nights like the first matchup, roughly almost 2 weeks ago now, Wemby was contained as much as you can kind of contain him with air quotes. And they came out tonight and they were adamant that he wouldn't be. So it was kind of a mix of him getting to his spots in the paint as he usually does, him knocking down some threes. Obviously, goes without saying the amount of shots that he alters and just the amount of times that opposing players see him in the paint and don't even look toward the basket. So it's tough when you have Champagnie able to spread the floor the way he does, Devin Vassell doing what he does as well. and you just have a complete team. Stephon Castle is someone who just is elite at being a two-way player. I'm so sorry about this noise in the back. I know we all hear it.
There's like a lottery machine going on behind you. What's going on?
I have no idea. I didn't even want to look.
It'll be all right. We'll work around it.
Okay.
It's like a Zamboni.
It sounds like you won a casino thing. Like a slots machine is going crazy.
I definitely hit the jackpot and just didn't know. But essentially,
right. Just fight through it.
Yeah, Stephon Castle, he's a two-way player. He was the one who was responsible mainly last week and this week for picking Cade up full court, making life difficult for him.
Yeah.
And they just have so many pieces that fit well together. And majority of those guys are able to play both ends of the floor.
Right.
I mean, I hate to kind of beat the same point out like every week for the Pistons, but we have talked pretty constantly about how if you are able to guard Cade Cunningham, send a lot of help at Cade Cunningham, the rest of the options on the Pistons roster leave a lot to be desired. You know, how do they do that? How do they fix that problem with, 6 weeks left in the regular season? Can they fix that problem with 6 weeks left in the regular season?
I think the biggest option is allowing Asar Thompson to be a primary initiator, but we saw he went down in the first few minutes of the game. He tweaked his left ankle and never returned. So when you do have him healthy...
Did we get an update on that, by the way?
JB didn't have any updates post-game. Asar was in the locker room. He didn't have a walking boot on. He was walking under his own control. So they're off tomorrow. They don't have practice. We'll likely get an update on that ahead of their game on Saturday against the the Nets. So, but Asar, he looked to be fine. He didn't have a walking boot, like I was saying. He was walking under his own power in the locker room. So the key, though, is allowing him to usually be the primary creator and having Cade come off ball actions so he's able to kind of space the floor a bit. But I mean, other than that, it is challenging when Tobias doesn't have it going or Jalen Duren was in foul trouble like he was tonight.
I mean, listen, I want to go back to the levels comment that you made, because I think that's true. Number one, the Spurs are a better basketball team right now. The West is tougher, and they're the 2 seed.
I was going to say, maybe that level is the Western Conference, right?
It's the Western Conference for sure. But also, I just think that they have more good players than the Pistons. I mean, the talent that the Spurs have, it's just a different level of talent. It's why they're the 2 seed in the West. They are a better basketball team on a talent level as well. But the level is really that the Spurs can play more than one way. Like you mentioned, in the first matchup, they kind of got not the best of Wemby, but they really did limit him, and other guys had to step up. Tonight, the Spurs come out, and it's very much about Wemby, very much about Fox, and everyone else is filling in the gaps. And I think that's one of the things that when I'm starting to think about the Pistons, I'm only thinking about the playoffs, right? We know that this is a regular season. This is going to be a top 4 team in the East for the next 5 years, period. Right. It's just who they're going to be with Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren. But I'm thinking about the playoffs. That third guy has to reveal themselves, I think, for them to maybe get out of the first round if it's the Charlotte Hornets, or if it's a team like that can score and play defense. I think that they've got some serious problems come playoff time. So that to me is the level difference. It's the ability to have a fastball is great. Detroit's had a good one all regular season, and that gets you a lot of wins. You play hard the way they do. It's very much like the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're going to chew up regular season wins just from the effort level that they compete with on defense. But man, that offense, we see it sometimes when it goes dry, and it's hard in the regular season. In the postseason, you'll be playing so much more half-court basketball. Who's that guy going to be? Is it Dennis Jenkins? Like, does he just need to be out there way more with Cade? I mean, he's another guy who can get stuff done off the dribble. I'm just spitballing here. I know it's not Karis LeVert. I don't believe it's Asar Thompson because the jumper is going to be problematic come playoff time. Like, you're just going to be able to sag in the paint on him. So, Hunter, like spitball with me here.
Yeah.
What would you do?
More Tobias Harris post-ups.
Yeah, don't put your coach hat on. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, no, I'm by no means anywhere near the way we're discussing levels. Like, there's I'm tons of levels away from JB. So by no means am I saying that I have the solutions. But I think last season in the postseason against the Knicks, they were able to kind of utilize Asar in the dunker spot pretty well. And Asar is a really intuitive cutter. He has a good feel for when he needs to slash. He understands that defenses play him a certain way to try to allow him to shoot because he's not the most comfortable with it yet. But having him in the dunker spot, having JD at the high post, and sometimes if you can have Dennis be the initiator, maybe Karras be the initiator, if you can stick Cade at the high post and kind of sink the defense in, catch Asar in the dunker spot. But it's something they're definitely going to have to get creative with. I actually do like the Pistons matchup against the Hornets just because of kind of like a personnel thing. I think no one on that team it's not even to be funny about it, but like, I don't think Musa is really equipped to guard Duren. I don't think they...
I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think they have like an answer for Cade. So personnel-wise, I do still kind of like them in that... Not kind of, I do like them in that series, but I mean, the Pistons are going to have to
booing you in the chat right now. I'm just letting you know. They're booing you in the chat.
I'm so sorry.
We're all in on the Hornets being scary, okay?
I know. All the boos.
Well, especially because of the beef that happened, right?
Right,
you know?
It would be a really fun series.
Beef, you mentioned the way that Wemby kind of changes the game. I mean, he's such a freak, right? He scared Isaiah Stewart out of a three on the wing that Isaiah Stewart catches the ball wide open on the wing and Wemby's underneath the basket. And on the closeout, he's just like, nope, passing out of this. I mean, that's how affected they were. I actually think he should have taken that shot. But anyway, I'm getting us off the rails here. I
see the transition though.
When we look at the Pistons, but when we look at the Pistons, it's where does that offense, like what's that offense going to hang its hat on come playoff time? And I just don't know what it is.
They're going to have to really be reliant on a 3-point shot that isn't the most effective. They were 12 for 28 last night in against San Antonio. But I think, really the shooting splits weren't terrible. They were 40% from the field. No. They were not effective in the paint. They're usually one of the most dominant teams in the paint, obviously because Wemby was in there. They only scored 36. But I think it really, it's undeniable that Cade is going to have to assume a ton of responsibility in the postseason. He understands that teams are going to load up on him. They're going to send two at him. He was getting, at one point in this game, they had two people meet him before he even got to half court. So teams are going to be extremely creative.
That's going to be every possession in the playoffs.
Yeah. They've mentioned though, like Cade says he invites the double because he trusts his teammates to play 4-on-3. And they're just going to have to find ways to do that.
That's a great thing to hear as a teammate.
Right.
Honestly, this could be where Asar might be pretty useful, right? If you think about him as a Draymond Green, right? If Cade is your Steph, he's not because of the shot. He's not going to draw the defense the same way. But at least if you're giving up the ball and it's Asar as the guy 4-on-3.
Yeah, he'll be your Draymond type of thing. Yeah. I get what you're saying. You know, I will say, Hunter, to that point, like I wonder if the formula for them in the playoffs is just to lean on defense even more. And I know that sounds really simple to say, but they didn't turn the Spurs over tonight. Like the Spurs had 8 turnovers. They weren't able to get out in transition as often. And when the Pistons aren't allowed to get out in transition as often, I feel like they are bogged down into Cade, ISO ball, Cade pick and roll stuff with Duren, especially in the half court. So you have to run. And I feel like we've seen teams do that in the past. The 2021 Bucks, that was a championship team that ran a lot. I feel like there's a formula there. Even the Thunder last year, right? Defense into offense. And I don't know, do you feel like maybe that's something that they can try to lean on more identity-wise is how we can even be good defensively against these top-tier teams?
I think so. They're aware, and JB has said all season long that their defense is their strong suit. And last game when they played against the Cavs, he mentioned that defense has been their superpower. And they're well aware that when they're not competing at the most extreme level defensively, that they're not going to be the most competitive offensively. So it's a combination. Obviously, in the postseason, the game slows down. It's a lot more half court as opposed to up and down. But I think that this is a team that is extremely confident in their defense. I know they're not hanging their heads after this loss. They still feel as confident as they did coming into this one. Yeah. So another thing, too, is Kevin Huerter got more minutes tonight than in the past. And traditional stats won't necessarily tell the story unless you watched. He only had 7 points, 2 assists, 5 boards, but he was a plus 15. And plus minus gets tricky sometimes, so it's not an end-all be-all stat. But I thought he played well. He's still someone who opposing teams respect his jumper because of the things he's done throughout his career. And if he can continue to get reps, he might be a potential solution in not allowing teams to load up on Cade the way that they have.
I mean, they've needed just another shooter, right? Duncan Robinson has not been just having him as the only option. You think about end of games. Now you've got another guy that you can stick out there that you have to guard is going to create some space. So I actually have been surprised that he hasn't been able to get into the rotation. But I agree with you. And by the way, that single game plus minus thing, it absolutely can give you an indicator if a guy has been effective. And for the Pistons, especially when they're plugging someone new in that's a shooter, you see the difference immediately. Right. So I actually felt like he did create the gravity they were looking for. Looking ahead, they don't really have anything to prove. What do they need to improve in the next 6 weeks?
Just the defense hasn't quite been the same as it was before the All-Star break. I believe it's only 8 games at this point. So getting back to the principles that made them as dominant defensively as they were ahead of the All-Star break. And then I think it's really just lineup experimentation. I think you need to see more of Kevin Huerter. But I mean, Chaz Lanier, he hasn't really gotten much of an opportunity, but he's
Chaz Lanier minutes. Let's go.
I mean, at this point, it's I think they need to get creative before the postseason gets here, because you just can't allow teams to load up on Cade the way that they want to. And like I said, he invites it. He's confident in his teammates. The team as a whole is still confident. This isn't like a world is ending moment type situation for them.
Yeah.
But I would think,
no.
I would think it's just experimenting with different lineups. Kevin Huerter, I believe, earned himself likely more minutes and more opportunity moving forward. So just kind of seeing what you have on your bench still.
Yeah. By the way, got to point out, Asar Thompson played 2 minutes, had a block. That was missing.
Per 36 is crazy at that point.
His defense, the reason, part of the reason they didn't turn it over for the Spurs was Asar. And so I will say they missed him.
Yeah, it was late in the game, but Ron ended up leaving with a left eye injury. JB mentioned post game, his vision was blurry. He just didn't feel it was right to put him back into the game when he can't even see straight. So, I mean, Duren was out.
Definitely not. The Pistons fight too much for that, man. You can't have, you got to have both eyes if you're out there with the Pistons. But, I mean, all right. Thank you, Hunter Patterson, for hanging out, man. Everybody go and read him at The Athletic. For Hunter Patterson and Es Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour. This has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for hanging out with us.